Hello and welcome to Heart-repreneur TV. I'm your co-host, Velma Gallant. Super excited to have you here today. I have a very special guest and we're going to be having an amazing conversation today. The show today is called The 2-Hour Cocktail Party, and we are here with Nick Gray. Nick is the founder of Museum Hack, which he sold in 2019, a partner at Flight Display, which was sold in 2014, and now he is the best-selling author of The 2-Hour Cocktail Party. So I'm really excited to find out what this is all about, because I got to tell you, I like cocktail parties.
That's good.
So I'm super curious, tell me a little bit about this book and why you created it.
Great. I will tell you about it, but I'm going to ask you, because you said you like cocktails. Do you go to cocktail parties now, or have you hosted any dinner parties or cocktail parties recently?
No, I have not hosted. I have gone to, well, I like the idea of cocktail parties. I go to friends' places. I go to pubs. I like going out and socializing with people and spending time with people. So I am being able to do a lot more of that, and I really do enjoy it.
I love what you said there, was that you love going out to socialize with people. My book is not about how to make a drink. In fact, there's not a single drink recipe that's inside of my book. Isn't that funny?
That's an important clarification. So I'm kind of getting that when you're talking about cocktail parties, you're not talking about the logistics of it as much as the reason for it. Would that be a good guess?
Yeah, I talk about the organizing and the people. And I say that, look, it's not about the food, by the way. I would rather have someone leave my party hungry than bored. What I want is I want to help my friends meet new people. And as we get older, it's harder to meet new people. Now, you may not drink alcohol. Some people don't drink alcohol. I don't. But we call these gatherings a cocktail party because it's the easiest understanding of a lightweight social gathering where you talk to and chat with a bunch of different people. And all that I want to say is, number one, there's a loneliness epidemic that's happening for adults, especially older adults, that as we get older, it's harder to make new friends. And nobody teaches us how to truly make new friends. It's hard to meet new people, and it's gotten harder over the last 5 years. And so my book is a way to try to fix that by teaching people how to host a very lightweight gathering that your friends will benefit from. And you'll get massive benefits as well, but know that everyone who attends gets huge benefits. So that's what it's about.
I really like that, because one of the people that I interviewed not that long ago, and her name is not coming to me. I am reading her book, and it's a little bit about her life story. And one of the things that she was sharing in her book is about the social events around food and the collaboration and the heart and the connectability and all of that kind of stuff. And that was more so in the 80s. And as we transitioned more into the 90s, and we got into high-powered business and all of that kind of stuff, we seem to fade away from that.
Yeah. I think I like to add a little bit of structure. So let me say this. What is my book about? What happens in my book? Well, it's about a formula to gather that helps people create new conversations. And you would think about it like my name. What's in my book? How does this 2-hour cocktail party work? Well, think about my name, Nick, N-I-C-K. Each of the letters stands for one of the core concepts.
Okay.
The N stands for name tags. Everybody's going to wear a name tag at the party. I'm going to pause and ask Velma, what do you think of that so far?
I actually really like the idea, because I am the kind of person that it's like, I meet someone, I'm excited to meet you, you'll tell me your name, and I will forget. And if you've got it right there, it helps me to remember, which means I'm going to be saying it more. I'll probably call you by your name more, and then I got a better chance of actually remembering your name. I'll remember you, but maybe not your name.
Yeah, that's me too. I'm bad with names. That's why I started it. But what I've learned is that it also helps people who are shy, who have social anxiety, who are introverted,
Mm.
people who maybe are a guest, a friend of a friend that's been invited, a significant other, a partner. We think that, oh, I know everybody's name. We don't need name tags. But not everybody knows everybody else's names. At a party of 15 people, the number of interconnections at that party is in the hundreds, and the likelihood that everyone knows everyone's name is zero. Okay. And so we
Mm-hmm.
wear the name tags to make others feel included. And here's the thing, to show that everybody's on the same team, that this isn't a party of cliques,
Ooh.
that we're all on the same page, and it's a safe space to go meet new people. So that's the
Oh,
N for name tags. And I hope you're getting an idea for what my book is really about, because it's not a recipe book. It's about the connections.
and I really love that because I know I've been to friend gatherings, and I'll be with people, and it'll be like I brought somebody, I really should introduce you, and I'm looking at your face, and
Mm,
I don't remember your name, or
yes.
it's hard to introduce them, or it could be just you walk up to them like, hey, how you doing? And I'm well known for calling everybody Lovey because I forget names.
Uh-huh. That's your secret.
It's true. It's
That
the truth. Like I call everybody Lovey because I
that's
can't.
so good.
But it to me, it's a safer way for me to still say, like I remember you, I connect to you, and please
Yeah.
forgive me for not remembering your name.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. I appreciate that. Should I go on to the next formula of the
Yes. Yes.
So N is for name tags. You're going to have name tags at the party. I stands for icebreakers. You, as the host, are going to lead 2.5 or 3 icebreakers at your party. And the reason we do these is twofold. Okay. Number one, because icebreakers serve as a conversational crutch to give people an excuse to go up and meet somebody new, to sort of do a brief survey of the room so that people don't just talk to the same people that they know. Okay.
Mm.
They help
Mhm.
bring new people into the conversation and give people an excuse. They also serve a second secret function. That function is that they help end conversations. When you stop your party and lead these icebreakers, it gives you an easy excuse to end talking to someone. And have you ever gone to a social event and you're like, oh, I'm kind of ready to leave this conversation, but I'm too nice to end it. And so I'm going to talk in it 10 minutes longer than I see you laughing, Velma. Does that happen to you ever?
Yeah, it is definitely, and I'm sure it's happened because of me too.
You caused it.
I mean, it's the reality. I mean, we
All right.
are people. We are people,
Sure. Sure.
and I love that. I really loved how you called it a conversational crutch because,
Uh-huh.
um, when you were talking first about name tags and it helping the shy and having everybody feel inclusive, I think something like this creates that environment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And those name tags help bring the circle in, right? I'm not calling people out, I'm calling them in. And when we do
Ooh.
that with the name tags, with the icebreakers, we're just looking to create those new conversations. And I want to be clear, at a dinner party, which I'll talk about food in a second, at a dinner party, you go deep with just a few number of people. Cocktail parties are surface level conversations to grow you and your friends' network of acquaintances. Here's why that's important. All big relationships start in the acquaintance level, whether it's a romantic partner, a business partner, a boss, a work colleague, a best friend. Everything starts as an acquaintance. I believe that the way to have more big relationships is to grow your number of acquaintances, and then you shake it out. You know who you want to connect with, right? You know who you want to spend more time with. But having these acquaintances, by the way, the science says that we find out about the best opportunities in life, whether it's new jobs, new houses, new romantic partners, not through our best friends, but through what they call weak ties or loose connections. That's acquaintances. It's those people that we don't see every day that we find out about the new job posting from, that we learn about somebody new to go out with. So far, does that make sense? Does that line
Yeah,
up with your experience?
it absolutely does. I like the idea of this being an opportunity to grow the acquaintances, because I agree with you. That's where everything starts.
Right?
You don't just like snap your fingers and instantly you're best friends. You start out knowing each other a little bit, and I think too, it made sense to me when you were talking about some of those best opportunities coming from acquaintances, because
Uh-huh.
honestly, they haven't formed judgments about you yet. And I think,
Interesting.
because I mean, if I know you really well and something comes along and I'm like, I'm already, and I'm just as human as the rest of us. I'm often going to be going, well, yeah, but he won't like that because, well, yeah, because,
Ooh,
right? And
yes.
whereas if I don't know those things about you, I might blurt out, oh, hey, what about?
Nice. That's an interesting framing. I've never thought about that, that you're starting from a clean slate.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Something else I thought about last night, I went to a big event last night where I met a lot of people. And as much as it was uncomfortable and loud, I did meet some interesting new people. And I was reminded how refreshing it is to meet someone new. To
Mm-hmm.
just meet someone new is such a nice experience. And what a gift that you can give to your friends to introduce different people in your life. By the way, my book is filled with all the scripts of exactly how you would invite someone. And probably very socially
Mm.
savvy people like yourself, Velma, don't need to know that. But some people actually don't know, like, how do I invite someone to a party, to a cocktail party? What do I say? When do I invite them? When do I know to follow up with them? What do I do on my invitation? All that stuff I've written out. I've tested it through hundreds of parties myself, and then in coaching people how to host their first party. So let me go back to the formula. Is that okay?
Yep. Yep. Let's do that.
N as name tags, I as icebreakers. C stands for cocktails only, no dinner. Okay. Dinner
Mm.
parties are the death of a new host. And I'll tell you why. For most people, dinner parties are too stressful and too complicated for you to do regularly. For most people, okay?
Mm.
You may be watching and tuning in and saying, I do dinner parties all the time. That's great. Know that you're in the top 5% and that most new hosts, it's too much work. I see you nodding. What do you think about this, Velma?
Yeah, it is. I love dinner parties. I love potlucks.
Yeah.
I do enjoy relationshiping over food. I
Yeah.
absolutely appreciate it. And I can also see, especially the value of scaling it back and simplifying. Because I
Hmm.
think then I also have more energy for um, myself as the host,
Yes.
being able to network and getting to know things, because I have hosted those dinner parties and I'm in the kitchen. Everybody else is socializing.
Beautifully said. Scaling back and simplifying. You can think about my book and my formula like the MVP, minimum viable party. What's the easiest gathering? Because I want to teach people the framework that I learned to host hundreds of parties. Now, you don't have to host hundreds of parties, but I will tell you that the biggest benefits come from someone who does regularly what others only do occasionally. That means if you can make hosting a habit, how could your life be different if every quarter, if every 3 months, you hosted a simple happy hour? In the time it takes you to watch a movie on Netflix, you could have built relationships with 15 to 20 people. What would
Mm-hmm.
your life be like if you were the one that was doing it? Well, so I can tell you what happened to me was I started to get introduced to people without even working for it. People would reach out to me, oh my God, Nick, you have to meet so and so. You got to invite them to your party. oh my gosh, Nick, can I bring this person to one of your parties? And suddenly, instead of me having to work to meet people, people came into my life. And that never happened to me before. I may present as an extrovert now, but when I first moved to New York City, I didn't know anybody. I was terrified to talk to strangers. The first night I talked to a woman at a bar that I didn't know, I was like jittery. I could not sleep at night. I was so wound up. Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy.
I totally get it, because we often get so far into our heads about what we think the other person is thinking about us, and they're probably not even thinking about us.
Right? Yeah, it's true. It's true. So C stands
Okay.
for cocktails only, no dinner. One of the other reasons you don't want to do dinners is because everybody sits down, and sitting down is the kryptonite to a successful gathering. Here's why.
Mm.
When people sit down, they get locked into conversation, and it's much harder to approach them. It's much harder for someone to join the conversation. When people are sitting down, think about what that's like. If you're a new person coming in, it's like, oh my God, does anyone want to sit with me? Can I sit with you guys? Like, it feels like we're back in high school. It's kind of hard and intimidating. When you're standing, the room is more fluid. New conversations happen. You're bumping into people. You're coming in and out of these chats. I'm not saying you can never sit down, but one thing that I hear, because I talk to a lot of people with limiting beliefs on why they cannot host, and one thing they say is, oh, well, my home isn't big enough. I don't have enough places for people to sit. I say, that's perfect. You actually want to remove your chairs. You don't want people to sit. And smaller apartments and homes are actually better for parties than big mansions. Why is that? The energy is more contained and alive in a small space. My parties, by the
Okay.
way, the right number of people, I say, is 15 to 20. 15 to 20 is the perfect number. Less than 15, and there's not that critical mass of
Right.
new people. More than 20, and it's too hard and complicated and a little too stressful for new hosts. So that's the C. C is cocktails only, no dinner. And then K, N-I-C-K. K stands for kick them out at the end. It's only 2 hours long. You have to end the party. One of the biggest mistakes I see when people host gatherings is they don't list an end time. They only say what time it starts. They don't say what time it ends. And then there's this complicated social calculus that goes on that's like, well, it says to start at 7, but they're European, so we can't show up on time. And then this, that, or the other. You know what I mean? I see you laughing. You know what's up, right?
I totally get it, because if you don't put an end time, then we're like, well, then, I don't really have to show up on time. I can show up a half an hour later or something like that. It's still going to be going on. It's going to be just fine.
It's exactly right. It also makes an extended awkward zone. And the awkward zone is the first 10 or 20 minutes of a party. It happens at every event where not enough people are there. And sometimes the people you know the least are the first to arrive. And you're like entertaining. It's awkward. And so I have stuff in my book about exactly how to deal with the awkward zone. But when you list a 2-hour time block, it compresses the awkward zone, and you'll be shocked how many people show up on time. You also want to end the party when things are going well. You want to end your party when things are going well, so people want to come back to your party. They're having fun. And sometimes, frankly, they're looking for an excuse to leave. They're looking for something, and they don't want to be the first to go, and this just gives them an excuse.
Okay. I like that. It does make sense. And there's a part of me that's going, but no, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me, I might be pulling this completely off topic, and I might be going not where you plan to go, but it would almost make me feel like it would be fun to have, now that we had a whole lot of fun here, here's 5 ideas in the community. You can go out and do that.
I like that idea. I like that. Can you say more about that?
Well, because, like, let's say it's on a Thursday night, and I know that this pub down the street has an open mic, and I know you love music.
Exactly.
So kind of fun little things like that. Or, this restaurant down the street, I know we didn't have any food here. So this restaurant down the street, I know you really like sushi. There's that sushi place down the way, or, things like that. I think it'd be fun to have a
backup, a place where they can go to continue the conversation if they're having fun. I love that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
and I really love what you're creating here as well, because I know that, so my son, he's going to be 22 this year, and as he was transitioning out of high school and stuff like that, they're not having their grad parties, they're not having their
yeah.
celebrations when they turn 18, 19, 21, whatever it might be in your
Yeah.
area. So it's made it really difficult for them to create those social opportunities or get used to those social opportunities. Like I've got a niece that was born during the pandemic, and she would
Yes.
get weirded out going out into public, and an older guy coming up to her and trying to give her a high five, and she's like, "Why are you talking to me?"
Yes.
So
Yes.
we've created an environment. Unfortunately, this has created an environment, unfortunately, that is making it difficult for people to be able to socialize face to face. And I love that you included shy people and introverts and that kind of thing, because they're people too. And so how do we include them in a way that is safe, a little bit more comfortable, so that they can stretch themselves? It doesn't mean they have to all jump into being extroverts like I might
Right.
be.
Right. Right. I think a lot about that. And here's some ideas that I've found. I found that by setting the expectations of what's going to happen at a social event, it helps those who are introverted, who are shy, who just maybe don't like parties, to know a little bit more. And here's how I do it. Number one, I make the guest list public. I allow people on a private invite to see all the names of those people who've RSVP'd. Okay. That can give people a little confidence. Oh, I know that person. Number two, I make a brief agenda, which I include on the invitation. It's very casual, and I don't always stick to it, but it lets them know. So let's say for a party from 6 to 8 p.m., I'd say 6 o'clock, welcome, 6:15, name tags, 6:30, mix and mingle, 6:45, first round of icebreakers, 7 o'clock, mix and mingle, 7:30, last round of icebreakers, 7:45, last call, 8 o'clock, the end. Giving people a little bit of an idea to just know generally what to expect. Something like that really helps, and it gives them the confidence. And then the last thing I do that I think really helps is my secret weapon. And I'll tell all your viewers, it's something that I do called guest bios. And the guest bios go out in my reminder messages leading up to the party. I take about 20 minutes. I sit down with a nice beverage, and I write little conversational talking points for half or more of all my guests. An example could be Velma lives in Calgary. Ask her about her son and her Facebook group and community. Okay. Or Rob lives next door. He's my neighbor. He loves riding his bike and practicing yoga. He works at a software company. Okay. I'm writing a little blurb. It just takes you a minute per person. And even if you don't know people, you can say, Diane is coming over for the first time. I've never met her before, but I look forward to meeting her. We met at a coffee shop near me. Okay. I'm just listing a little bit about people to give them conversation ideas and to know who else is coming. And oh my God, is this a powerful tool? People love it.
I really like that, because again, you're setting people up for success.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing from that, is you're setting people up for success. You're setting up the people who are introverts.
Yeah.
Right? Because I saw that you have a son, kind of thing, right? Like, I have a son too, or whatever the case might be. It gives them those connecting points. And even for the extroverts and stuff like that, again, I would end up going, oh, well, I got to connect with that person. I really like about that. And it creates curiosity.
Right, exactly. It creates curiosity, and it gets people excited to attend.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about why it's valuable to be playing with these cocktail parties. We've talked about some of the obstacles or the do not do's. I really like the cocktails only. I mean, and I am the type of person who loves to have those potlucks, and I'm
Yes.
always experimenting on my friends. They still invite me back, so apparently I've been doing okay.
You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, and like when you were talking about sitting down and how that's a bit of a killer. I know I went to a breakfast meeting,
Yeah.
and I have I I had a hard time deciding which way to throw my ears because
Right.
there's conversations over here, over here, over here, and I'm bouncing back between a bunch of them. I'm not really getting the gist of much. I'm
Uh-huh.
feeling like I'm missing out on things. So those were some of my experiences by sitting down, and that's kind of why I like potlucks in the way, because most times, not always, most times
Yeah.
you're standing there with your plate, right,
Right.
and
Right.
still moving around. But I really can appreciate the value of not including food, and I think it lightens things up a bit, because you get full and you get lazy.
Yeah. It happens. It happens to the best of us. And I just think that dinner parties can be great, and they're a great tool to be used appropriately. But if your goal is to help your friends meet new people and to connect with a lot of new people, I don't think dinner party. I think dinner party is what you do when you want to deepen the relationship. And that is fine. There's a
I
time and a
like
place
that.
for that. But my parties, and the purpose of them is to help end or help remedy this loneliness epidemic that we know, statistically speaking, North Americans have less friends now than ever before. That 19% of American men and 15% of women say they don't have a single close friend. Okay. Now,
Ooh.
that may not be the case. It's certainly not the case for you. But for some of our listeners, your neighbors, you never know. And the benefit that they can get from coming to your party, just know that by hosting one of these parties, you're really servicing your community as well. And I know this. I can talk and say silly things like this because I've spoken to over 200 people who've read my book and hosted a party, personally talked to them all. And they know that I just hear from them again and again the benefits that come from hosting something like this.
So, what are some of the success stories that you've heard about? Is there anything that you could share?
Oh yeah, sure. I don't have this like formally prepared, but I can just tell you a story I just talked to this morning because, like I said, I love to speak to these people. I talked to a guy in North Carolina who hosted a party last night for 20 people, and it was a big success. And I talked to him on the phone, and he was so happy. And I said, "Wow, that's so cool. When was the last time you and your wife hosted? When was the last time?" And he said, "Gosh, now that I think about it, never. We've never
Mm.
hosted before." And last night was the first time that we did. And it really changed a limiting belief that we had, which was we're not someone who hosts. That's not me. I could never do that. And I said, wow, that's really nice. Another success story. There's a woman whose name is Tatiana. She lives in Seattle, and she has a business that does stroller mom workouts. Okay. Kind of a
Ooh,
quirky, cool little
yeah.
business. And Tatiana read my book and started to host parties. She hosted 3. And I talked to her after her 3rd one, and she said, "You know what? You're not going to believe this, but my life has totally changed. My business has tripled in size." I said, "How did parties do that?" And she said, "Well, I'm just top of mind. People just think about me. I invite them to my party,
Mm.
and now I'm on their radar." Right? We think, "Oh, we're doing social media." That a party will do more for you in one night than a whole year of social media will do for you. And that has shown for her to be absolutely the case. People think of her, "Oh, yeah, Tatiana in your local community, she's building all these relationships." So I hear stuff. I'm like red pilled on the benefits of why people should gather. And people are hungrier now than they are ever before to gather in person. What do you think? Have you
Hmm.
noticed that in Calgary?
You know what? People are really starting to. allow themselves out again. Like I know for myself,
Mm.
that period of time was quite difficult for me because I'm single, my son's moved out,
Yes.
and my best companion was my puppy.
Yes.
I remember sneaking out to have lunch with my son because we weren't supposed to be doing that. So
Right.
I'd go pick him up, we'd hide in my car and go get some food and just hang out in our car in
Right.
order for me to get that interaction. So I know what kind of an impact it had on me. A lot of people's worlds shrank during that time. And I think it's been quite hard for people to open up their worlds again to allow more people in. It's I think this couldn't be more beautifully timed in order to give people a little bit of a toolkit and a little bit of a checklist on how to open their world again.
Yes, I think you're right that we're reopening for many people, and we're reintegrating, and we're thinking about that. And for a lot of people, their social circles really dissipated. I know for me, I lived in New York at the time, and so many of my friends moved away. I moved away. Heck, I live in Texas now. And so a lot of people have had to rebuild their social circles. And this hosting is the best way that I found to help do that quickly and at scale and efficiently in a way that people really want to be your friend.
I love that. I really love that. I think there's so much opportunity for this. We are at our end of our time, and this is going to show you how fast that 2 hours can go because this 30 minutes disappeared fast.
It did.
So your book again, 2 hour cocktail party, and that's at any of our bookstores, online or
Yeah.
otherwise, correct?
Yes, absolutely. The 2 hour cocktail party. You can buy it on my website or from anywhere you buy books online. And maybe we'll include this in the show notes, but you can use this book if you don't drink alcohol. Well, you can use it to host a mocktail party, or
Oh,
you
I
can
like
use
that.
it.
That's fun.
It's fun, right? You can use it to even host a coffee meetup in the morning. You can use it to host, there's a girl here in town who used it to host a clothing swap or a baby shower. It's an operating system of all the best practices I've
Mm.
learned to boost attendance and get people to show up. So I'll include those in the recap or the links or something.
I love that. I think too, what if our teenagers were using something like this, right? Because when you're talking about mocktail parties and stuff like
Yes,
that,
yes.
it's an opportunity. I do kind of wish I would have had this younger because I probably would have taught something like this to my teenager and helped him host something like this. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Thank you, Velma. Thanks for saying that. I'm on a mission to help 500 people, to personally talk to 500 people and help them host their first event. So if anyone watching or listening wants to do that, please reach out to me. You can send me an email at nick@nickgraynews.com. That's NICKGRAY news, NEWS.com. And I'd love to help you out on your journey to host your first event.
Brilliant. This was absolutely fantastic. And I know you're on social because I found you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me today, Nick. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. There's a huge amount of value here.
Thanks, Velma. Thank you very much. More friends in 2023.
Sounds like a brilliant plan. Thanks everyone for coming and joining us. I hope you enjoy this live in our Facebook groups, Heart-repreneurs with Terry Levine. So those of you out in YouTube land, come on over and join us. You're going to find a lot of amazing people, and maybe you might find someone to have a cocktail party with. Thanks.
Thank you.